In 9 AD, the Roman Empire suffered one of the most catastrophic military defeats in its history, the ambush in the Teutoburg Forest. 3 entire legions, the 17, 18, and 19, were annihilated by a coalition of Germanic tribes led by a man Rome once considered an ally, Arminius. The commander of the legions, Publius Quinctilius Varus, committed suicide as his forces crumbled around him. The defeat was more than just a loss of troops, it was a psychological shock to the Roman world. According to the Roman historian Suetonius, Emperor Augustus was so devastated by the news that he wandered his palace in anguish, crying out, "Quintilivere legiones rede! Varus, give me back my legions!" Before we dive deeper into the Roman retaliation, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more content that challenges conventional narratives and uncovers the raw drama of ancient history. The defeat at Teutoburg wasn't just a battlefield disaster. It sent political and military shockwaves across the Roman Empire. News of the massacre traveled slowly, taking nearly 2 weeks to reach Rome. Even before the official messengers arrived, a ghastly token had already crossed the frontier, the severed head of Varus, sent by Arminius to the Germanic king Maroboduus as a grim warning. The Rhine frontier was now dangerously exposed. Soldiers who escaped the massacre stumbled into Roman forts, broken and traumatized. Panic gripped the empire. Governors tightened control in the provinces, and Rome's enemies grew bold, sensing vulnerability. Across the empire, rebellions simmered. August, despite his personal grief, acted swiftly. He reinforced the Rhine defenses, empowered local commanders, and began planning the counteroffensive, but he knew that Rome could not simply patch the wound. They had to strike back. Rome's first response came under the leadership of Tiberius, Augustus's adopted son and heir, and a seasoned general. Between 10 and 12 AD, Tiberius stabilized the frontiers with overwhelming force, deploying 8 legions to the Rhine. His goal wasn't immediate conquest, it was to restore order, discipline, and deterrence. Rather than rush into Germania, Tiberius applied the doctrine of total war, using scorched earth tactics to punish any Germanic tribe suspected of aiding Arminius. Towns were razed, crops destroyed, and whole villages wiped out, with minimal Roman casualties. It was calculated brutality, designed to send a message. Yet Tiberius stopped short of a full invasion. In 12 AD, Augustus summoned him back to Rome to prepare for the imperial transition. Tiberius would soon become emperor, but Germania would not be forgotten. After Augustus' death in 14 AD, Germanicus, the charismatic and capable general from the Julio-Claudian family, was appointed to command the legions on the Rhine. Just 29 years old, Germanicus was already a proven leader, popular with the troops and adored by the Roman people. To many, he was the man destined to avenge Teutoburg. Germanicus didn't waste time. Between 14 and 16 AD, he launched a series of bold campaigns deep into Germania. His first move was against the Chatti tribe, allies of Arminius. Then, in a symbolic and emotionally charged act, he marched through the Teutoburg Forest itself. There, among the bones of fallen Romans, he buried the dead and recovered one of the lost legionary eagles, a sacred standard and symbol of Roman honor. Make sure to subscribe if you're intrigued by these kinds of hidden stories from ancient times. This is where history and myth collide. In 16 AD, Germanicus finally confronted Arminius in open battle at Idistaviso near the Weser River. Arminius, now a seasoned leader of a fractured but formidable Germanic coalition, attempted to trap the Romans. But this time, it was different. Germanicus anticipated the ambush. Using superior engineering, cavalry, and discipline, the Roman legions smashed through the Germanic lines. Both Arminius and his uncle Ingiomer were wounded, though they managed to escape. The victory was overwhelming, and it marked a psychological reversal. Rome could win in the German forests. Shortly after, Roman forces captured Arminius's wife, Thusnelda, who was paraded in a Roman triumph. But even in victory, there was restraint. Germanicus wanted to push further to finish the war. Tiberius, now emperor, recalled him to Rome. Perhaps fearing his popularity or wary of overextending Roman forces, Tiberius chose consolidation over conquest. Germanicus returned to Rome in triumph. The campaign had not reclaimed Germania, but it had avenged the dead, restored Roman pride, and proved that the empire could recover from even the darkest of defeats. For centuries, the exact location of the Teutoburg ambush remained a mystery, but in the late 1980s and 1990s, archaeological work at Kalkriese, near Osnabrück in modern-day Germany, began to reveal the truth. Led by British archaeologist Tony Clun, and later supported by German archaeologists and the Museum und Park Kalkriese, hundreds of Roman artifacts were unearthed. Coins bearing Augustus' image, armor fragments, and even twisted remnants of Roman chainmail. The discovery of a Roman soldier's face mask stunned historians. The terrain matched ancient descriptions, a narrow corridor between hill and swamp, perfect for an ambush. The battlefield, once a place of tragedy, became a site of renewed historical clarity. The aftermath of the Teutoburg disaster and the campaigns of Germanicus reshaped the Roman Empire's northern strategy. The Rhine River became the formal boundary between the empire and Germania. Rome no longer pursued full conquest beyond the Rhine, but instead built a powerful defensive frontier that would last for centuries. More importantly, this chapter in history reminds us of the limits of imperial power. Even the greatest empire can be humbled by the terrain, the cunning of local resistance, and the consequences of underestimating its enemies. The Battle of Teutoburg was a tragedy, but Rome's response showed a different side of imperial resilience. One not just of brute force, but of symbolism, pride, and calculated restraint. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the forgotten corners of history, because sometimes what lies buried in the ground tells a story that changes everything.